versus Team Liquid. Grand Finals, Game 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. That's right. It's OG versus Team Liquid Grand Finals International 2019. And I hope you're in it for the long haul because this is a best of 5 series. First team to take 3 games will win this entire tournament. As you saw earlier, I'm joined here by Gunnar and Febby. And as they had briefly mentioned on the panel, this is 2 European teams. And this is the first time that 2 teams from the same region have been competing in TI Grand Finals since 2014, which it was Vici Gaming and Newbie.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you really quickly, as we are soon getting into this draft, what's it like playing another team for your region, and what's like the scrim culture? Because obviously, when someone's very close to you geographically, it makes sense to play them frequently in scrims. So, what kind of information do you get during scrims? Are you more trying to figure out what you're good at, or are you trying to figure out what the enemy team is bad at? You're trying to figure out new strats. You're trying to play heroes. What exactly do teams get by doing scrims?
Well, a lot of the times in tournaments, whenever same region teams play each other, you'll see that there's like upsets, right? Where it's like this really strong team that could be like top 6, top 4, whatever, is getting knocked out by, like maybe a top 12 team or something like that from their same region. And it's because they play each other, like you said, a lot, right? They know their strats, they know the way they like to draft, they know the players, especially from pubs. Like you play the pubs with some player, this guy likes to pick these type of heroes, he likes to kind of make this stuff around the map, and sure, it's not in a competitive aspect all times, but you get a feel for all the players. So that's why a lot of the times, like here, I'm expecting to see the games be like a little closer than OG's like normal run, right?
Right. And Liquid are doing a good job to make sure that doesn't happen, as we see in the first phase bans already taking away a lot of the things that OG have been proving to be extremely powerful on: the IO, the Magnus, and the Alchemist.
And but OG do get Enchantress.
They do.
Which they're probably like the best Enchantress team right now. Because they play 5. So if you try to like super hard counter this Enchantress, you pick some like Lightstealer, Gyro. These are like okay counters, but you pick some hard counter to the edge and they put it on No Tail and then call it a day. Give Seb a new hero.
Is Chen one of those heroes? Because I know back in the day when both these heroes used to be all about getting neutral creeps, it seemed that there was a real give and take between Enchantress and Chen. Both these heroes have kind of changed their role, Febby. Why exactly do you think Liquid goes for the Chen to respond to this Enchantress?
I think they're looking to group up early and push early and just like have a better early to mid team fight. I think that's what they're thinking right now, especially with the Tide pickup as well.
Also, both heroes in the early game have changed their playstyle a lot. It used to be Enchantress would go for Enchant a lot. And she'd get a creep, the Wildkin, she'd have a little more bonus armor, she'd have a Tornado, and that would be like her lane support, right? And now she's more getting heal and untouchable, and she's kind of just right-clicking your carry. And Chen, on the other hand, he has his new passive ability. I guess it's not a passive anymore, right?
It's got a passive component and an active component.
Active, yeah.
So
But
the
the
Divine
passive
Favor gives the aura, and then obviously the active teleports you around the map.
So the passive gives you everyone HP regen in an area, and increases the HP regen by percentage. So now a lot of the Chens you'll see they buy a headdress, which also gives everyone bonus 2 HP regen. So now everyone from level 1 in Chen's lane is going to have like 5 HP regen. When they pair it with a hero like Tide Hunter, that guy doesn't take damage. So they can kind of match these lanes up, the 2 from Liquid, put them in any hard lane, and they're going to get a lot out of it.
I want to talk about like the meta a little bit in TI because I played in I think 3 or 4 TIs. I think it was 3, and I've been watching other TIs as well. So the meta shifts twice in TI. Once is after the group stage ends and when the what is this called, the
main event.
The main events for our starts. Like a lot of teams like take like those few days.
Especially during the 1 day break, right? There's a day break between the groups and the main stage.
Yeah, they study everything and they decide like what's really good in the meta. And we've been kind of seeing tiny void popping up in the main stage. And at the grand finals, meta shifts again. The first game kind of doesn't matter. It feels good if you win. But I think like Liquid from the first pick bans, because that's like the most important, because that actually shifts your the whole pick ban. So I think this is going to be a really important match to see if they are able to actually beat OG's Enchantress, because it's going to give them a huge edge if they win this, if they are able to beat the Enchantress, because they can play it themselves too.
It's also kind of crazy if you look at this, that OG gets first pick, right, this game? And look at their bans compared to Liquid bans. Liquid has to ban like 3 of these like game-winning
Signature
cores,
heroes,
right?
yeah.
And OG gets to pick, you know, they ban this AA, so it's like it forces you to ban the AUG.
That's what I was getting into. Like OG has a lot of heroes that Liquid needs to first ban. Meanwhile, it's not the same for the other. So yeah.
Yeah, ban against Liquid seems to be more targeted towards Miracle during the ending phases of the draft, because usually you got to be worried about these random anti-mages coming out or something like that. You're not concerned about that happening in the first phase of the draft, so you're just kind of trying to establish your strategy. So for these two teams specifically, as we see a Rubik come out for Liquid, do you think it's more in Liquid's, like the ball is in Liquid's court to kind of figure out what OG is up to, and OG's just like, we're just going to play our own Dota. If you can beat it, then we'll maybe start sweating for game 2, but for right now, you got to prove that you can even take one game off of us.
OG right now, they looked at Dota Buff. They searched TI9, looked at the heroes from the main event, saw the highest win percentages and pick rates, and clicked the top 3.
These seem like good heroes.
And they're hoping that they're going to work together and win them a game of Dota.
Okay.
And Liquid is doing their own style, right?
Yes.
Like this TA is Weeha's hero ever since he joined Liquid. Even before Liquid, he would play it like on Chaos. He'd play a lot. But they first picked it the entire time last major. They started first picking it last series. I think it's like their comfort way of playing. It gives them map vision. It gives them a like almost always a 50-50 lane at worst.
Yeah.
Even if it's like horrible, you can go jungle like in the Huskar lane, right? You can just jungle, catch up, and come back in the mid lane game.
I think right now OG is thinking of picking Void or not. Like they're taking their time because this pick is going to kind of determine their win condition.
I think they're wondering about, they probably saw the last match, right? Which was a Void versus TA.
Yes.
And they saw how that probably panned out, how the TA just like, you know, 3-shot the Void. You can't get time walk off, doesn't really matter. So they're probably considering if they're actually going to be scared of this TA and they need to pick, you know, more of a safer carry against the TA, like a Spectre.
They're going to go for a hard carry option, but one that obviously is very, very strong against TA. Once the Spectre gets that Radiance online, suddenly TA's Refraction is just completely nullified pretty much.
Also, Spectre's a common Manta buyer. That's one of the things you want on an Adu hero versus TA. It serves 2 functions. You can dodge or move the Meld Strike, and also burns the Refractions instantly, because you have 3 different heroes.
It is not a carry hero that we see much here at TI9, but it is really amazing against Liquid supports right now. Those 2 squishy, the single target supports, the backline supports. It's really easy for the Spectre to go on Liquid's backline right now.
So the cool thing about Spectre this tournament is people are like doubling down on the late game on it. They go Midas on Spectre. Their first item.
But what about the days of the old Vanguard Spectre where you're just like, no, I'll be able to make it to the late game. You're like, listen, either win or lose, this Spectre is going to get super farmed. It's up to you to end the game, and they were going Midas?
Yeah, it's like a lot of carries are going more, you have to get a lot out of the map these days, right? That's why these heroes like Alchemist and Meepo, like for Liquid, right? That's their Meepo. Like these, even Arc Warden, these heroes get more gold out of their gold.
Right.
Alchemist just gets double the gold from last hits. Arc Warden gets double the gold from
Midas.
Double Midas, but also in teamfights he has 2 sets of items.
True.
Meepo gets 4 times the stats, right? So they have a lot of like functions that, since these teams playing the map so well these days, and they can't really like, you know, force people away from the map, that stuff like that is just really strong.
These heroes from Liquid side, it's really familiar too. I remember it punishing the Raze King draft. These heroes want to play fast, and that's what Spectre is kind of scared about. So laning phase is really important for both sides, because if Liquid gets to win, then they're just going to start snowballing.
OG last ban a Gyro and then pick up a Pugna.
So I think that's going to be a mid Pugna versus TA. The matchup's a lot better now than it has been, and even when the Pugna at 6, the TA has a really hard time laning against him. And they'll probably try to lane this tiny top, I guess. I think the tiny top's a little safer than the Pugna, but they can always swap the lanes around based on this last pick from Liquid.
I was thinking Liquid's gonna pick a hero like Troll to amplify the early mid game, but because of the Pugna pick, it can get kited real well. So,
Meepo.
So Liquid want to take that Spectre game to the next level. Another hero that can quickly amplify his own farm. Meepo, the last pick on Team Liquid.
That pushes TA to safe lane, I guess?
Yes.
It's a very early fast tempo. Spectre's not going to have a lot of room to breathe. It's pretty good late game. So yeah, it looks like a really good last pick Meepo.
So then does this change the side lane Liquid situation for OG? Like, are you going to move the Tiny around or the Elder Titan around elsewhere? Because you still got a Spectre that you got to babysit.
Probably not. The thing that's kind of scary for Liquid is OG has an ET, right? And ET is so good against Meepo.
Yes.
You get Astro Hero damage from each Meepo. You get the aura on all the Meepos. You can stomp all the Meepos. They're always going to be clumped. You're always going to these big team fights. So that's the one big question I have about this Meepo pick.
And Elder Titan is a hero that we've been seeing a lot of strength of just in the laning phase. Even before the multiple Meepos come online or something like that, he's going to be getting a ton of damage from that Astral Spirit.
Yeah, but individually you're right. But I think the way these heroes work together right now, Liquid's heroes, they all complement each other in the early mid game. So it's gonna be pretty hard if they win if OG loses the lanes. The lanes are really important this game.
All right, then let's hear some of the justification from Team Liquid's coach, Roman.
All right, Roman, you are now drafting in a grand final. Curious from your perspective, is it any different, your approach to the draft, now that you know that you've got 5 games instead of 3, or is the preparation the same?
It's slightly different simply because you have, let me put it this way, you can drop 1 game. Basically, it's a, how to put it? You get more time to play, basically.
How do you feel about your draft right now?
I think we're a very comfort draft this time. We played a very similar draft before in this tournament, so I feel good.
All right, well, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, back to you guys as we get this first game going.
Thank you very much, Casey, and welcome everyone to the 2019 Grand Finals, a best of 5 between Team Liquid and OG. I'm Odie Pixel here with Fog. We've just seen the draft. It's all very exciting, right? We have Liquid, they raise up the TA, then out comes the Pugner, and then they say, well, we're going to switch it around. We're going to bring out the Meepo, but, and there's a big but, right, Fog? There's something kind of good on OG's side.
There is a good Elder Titan pick for that Meepo. This should be a really interesting one. We look at OG, like you said, this is what happens when we get to the later stages, and of course in the finals of TI. It's all about counter picks and just mind games. Like you said, they just swap the lanes around immediately just from the picks. And even though you don't see too often that these swaps happen, it's gonna be those mind games. Because immediately, look who's actually playing the Meepo, and look at his items. Those aren't mid items on our Meepo. Those are side lane item Meepos. So that's already a big change up there. Yes. They're going to be seeing the player. They're going to be Weehaws playing Meepo. Of course it's going to be mid. So now we're going to see if they can actually scout the lane. Weehaws just going to hide. He has to hide this to make sure that OG does get caught off guard on it.
And talk to me about this then. The Elder Titan, a hero that we've seen a lot of drafts where, for other reasons, there could have been the reason to pick the Meepo, but it hasn't come out. What makes this hero so scary for the Meepos out there?
A lot of the times, of course, you get that big amount of damage that can work for Astro, but it's a 5 position. I think the bigger thing as a 5 position versus that Meepo is you're amplifying everybody else versus him, and you're stunning multiple Meepos. Sure, he's not going to be stacking all 5 of them all the time, or all 3 or 4 of them at the same time, all 3 of them, whatever, in those situations when he does have them, but it's the likeliness that you're getting multiple Meepos stomped is very, very high.
We're going to see both teams come out to try and get a look at getting the advantage in the runes, and it will be Liquid able to take 3 bounty runes to start the game off.
Lanes are identified immediately. OG's going to play super aggressive down bottom. They know it's a Meepo in the side lane. They're just going to constantly be running at him, and now it's going to be Miracle in that matchup mid versus a Tiny.
Yeah, interesting to see, especially after, as the panel were mentioning earlier, how Weehaw and Miracle were sort of juggled around back in the day on Vulcan Bears between the mid lane, and now here on the same team, Miracle says it's my turn to take myself back to mid.
I'm really curious
to the side lane
to see how the side lane Meepo is going to do. We pretty much strictly see this hero placed in the mid lane because you need experience. You want to be getting that solo experience for yourself, being able to always... Oh, Zeke actually going to get a tops back. Tops in, oh, he actually has the tree grab as well as the avalanche, but put some pressure on. But yeah, this Meepo is going to be splitting experience with the Chen. So I think we're going to see Kuroki, in particular, moving away from the lane a lot as the Chen. You have to give Meepo levels.
And looking at the other side lane, up top, Mind Control tied, backed up by GH against Snowtail and Anna. Is this is a lane where Anna's going to be able to get some space to farm, or can Liquid really amp up the pressure on a Spectre early on?
I think Anna's going to be able to farm up here just fine. They could get set up some kills onto No-Tail, but onto Anna, I don't think you can kill a Spectre with a Rubik and a Tidehunter. You can prevent some farm though, right? This is the damage reduction lane. Fate Bolt as well as Anchor Smash will be a little annoying, but this is what Elder Titan does. This is why he's picked so often.
He just runs the heroes down.
Yeah, he just secures the lane pretty nicely for
refreshing the spirit here, nearly getting GH. Single-handedly just beating these two far, far away from Anna, so Anna's got all the space in the world.
Yeah.
Let's have a look on the mid lane. CS 7 for 3, Thompson at the moment against the 4 for 0. I guess what expected, Tiny's going to have this advantage?
Yeah, would definitely think so. It's also very easy to always play aggressive as the Tiny 2 because your Avalanche removes 6 of those instances of refraction whenever he does get the levels up on Miracle. Just gotta make sure you don't need too many side blades this Thompson, because you are very low armor, of course.
Again, I mean, no tail. He's going to take quite a bit of damage in response this time with the guts to the anchor smash. Trying to run away with the tanker. He's going to look for the neutral creep tonight. Not going to get it. GH able to get that first blood, taking down No Tail. As No Tail, for the most part, still able to do his job with regards to pushing them away from Ana. But obviously just wants to make sure that he doesn't feed himself away too many times. Otherwise, that is when you are going to see that dual lane up top, get the levels, and then have the better chance of forcing that Spectre out of the lane.
It's his job, though. I think a death like that for No Tail, it's forgivable. Sure, you don't want it to happen, but he's owned them. Like you were saying, Ana's able to get all the last hits. He's 11-1 when it's only 7-2 Tidehunter. So it's all about the space. And we look at OG's draft. They're about the late game. You look at Liquid's draft, they're very early game centric. They want to be snowballing the game, getting Roche control, and just ending the game before it gets too late on. Because OG's, if it gets to the late game, you can assume that they're going to be able to take it very easily with that Spectre.
Yeah, when OG's having such a good time in some of these matchups, they're going to be very, very happy. The mid lane continuing to be very much in Thompson's favor. 15 for 8 against the 9 for 0. Miracle is going to look to fight back. Thompson getting rather low. Miracle looking for the angle. Oh, he does find the angle, but it isn't quite enough damage. Thompson will be able to walk away.
He's going to have to TP to base, though. That's pretty huge there. Miracle, after having a pretty rough start in the laning phase, 8 denies on the Tiny, pushes him out. Thompson getting a bit too over-aggressive there. So we see Weehaw is going to be hitting this level 3, level 4. Kuroki has absolutely been moving away from the lane a lot to ensure that the Meepo gets that extra experience. And he's grabbing his creeps. He's actually grabbing the Ogre Frost Mage this time just for the armor. 15 armor on Meepo to soak some of that bullying that comes out from Seb as well as Jerax. But they're glyphing the wave, and they want to continue this pressure.
Farm between Seb and Wee, very even at the moment. So they're both getting something good out of this lane. Still the best position on the map happens to be Ana's up top. The Spectre leading the way in CS. The duo lane was not able to do enough to break past No Tail and slow Ana's early game down.
Thompson will not get the rune, but the rune will spawn bottom, and Jerax is already there waiting for it. So yeah, I mean, we hop down bottom. He's just gonna farm really well, actually, even though the Enchantress tends to be able to bully most heroes. With the Ransack in combination with his armor, like his main Meepo is sitting at like 17 armor when he's away from the tower, of course. So how do you harass 17 armor when he's also healing off hitting creeps? So definitely an interesting approach coming out here from Liquid.
Thompson back in the lane. Definitely with that a good bit of time the Miracle got with Thompson having to head back to base. The even trader farm is there, and of course Miracle as the TA will be able to turn towards the